Okay, hello. I've never really posted a video of my thoughts on YouTube. Heck, it was just recently I even posted me singing, but as you can tell, I'm very shy. So you're not gonna see my face during this at all. Not even when I'm singing. But, uh, you know, I just, I don't know how to put this other than I've just gone through certain things in life. I can't say it's as bad as some, but it is some challenges that, I have quite a few friends and people that I know that have told me they think I should open up and that I should share. And they think it would help people out. In particular, my boyfriend, he was very supportive of that and was one that suggested it more than any, really. And I'm not really sure where to begin with these parts of my life and the things I've gone through, but I thought, I'll just post stuff here and there and um, maybe I'll just start with a little bit about myself and I guess introducing myself as best as I can without revealing my face. Because as of right now, that's not going to happen. Uh, well, as I had mentioned earlier, I'm very shy, but it's very weird. I think it's only in cameras that I'm shy. Because anybody that meets me in person, I'm very, very friendly and very open. Uh, but I guess that's also because even though I'm shy, I have this nature about me where I like helping others and helping them feel comfortable, which pretty much helps me overcome anything about me feeling shy at that moment because I know what it feels like to be shy. So when I see other people that are shy, or other people just a little nervous, or just need a little help breaking the ice, then I very much so feel in my element because I like nurturing and helping people. So it makes me forget about how shy I am. And my focus is on helping them know they have a friend. My focus is helping them know they are very, very intelligent and very valuable. And, so I am glad that I've overcome that part of me being shy because there's a lot of people I've met that are shy like myself, but they haven't figured out how to overcome that. And I gotta say, shy people, they're one of the most beautiful people you get to meet. They they're very intelligent, they have vibrant minds. They're Let's just say they're too busy being in their mind and less so socializing, so they have got all the time in the world to think of things and all the time in the world to be creative and connect to their soul. I guess you could say it's almost unintentionally meditating because they're shy. So, I think shy people are very beautiful. I also think outgoing people are very beautiful because they, well, kind of like me, they help shy people feel valuable. They value everybody around them. And I think that's a wonderful thing about outgoing people. So that's, there's something there about me too. I really am not judgmental and I really just find value in about just about everything and everyone. So yeah, but speaking of the shyness part, on camera, There's nobody for me to help break the ice with. It's just me at that moment. So there's nobody for me to nurture, help, or uh, help show some love to or feel value to. So then I go back to being shy and completely, well, just making sure the screen's black so nobody can see me. I know, it's a bit odd. Also, I'm not really sure why I'm afraid of cameras. I think it's mostly I'm afraid of attention. I remember when I first realized how terrified of cameras I was. Um, and of course, I had to learn this while going to a megachurch. It's like that great, perfect place to have fear of cameras in a megachurch. Yeah. So, well, there was this woman, and I'll refrain from saying names. Um, I'll just say she was a really good friend at the time, a very sweet woman. And every church at Christmas, excuse me, she would have this big, I don't know what to call it, a shindig or something, event. And yeah, it was to make sure children that wouldn't be getting Christmas presents that year would at least get something and have a little fun. And they had some well-known, impactful Christians there. I'm not really sure what else to call them. I know their name, but as for what their team's name's called, but as I said, I'm going to refrain from mentioning names. I can say that they are very muscular, and you can see them on TV. And particularly if you grew up in a Christian childhood environment, as I did. So, to me at the time, they were very famous then. And my brother at the time was a very, very, very big fan of them and very shy, but that's getting off the subject. uh, but at this event, the kids would get to watch the performances, uh, not just by this team, but other people to perform on the stage for the children's entertainment. There would be lots and lots of snacks, like sandwiches, and I would help volunteer with this stuff. So my job was to make sure to carry in all the things, like all the snacks and the sandwiches, and I mean, this was a lot. This was a lot of um, food and such, and a lot of kids. I mean, there was a lot of people there. So the fairly big event, I would say, especially being that the woman running it was a part of a televised church. Which, by the way, the con the main church itself was not really the main sanctuary. It was not really recorded or anything. From time to time they did, but not so much really, to my knowledge at least. I think I would have dreaded it if I knew there was a camera in there with me. But there wasn't that I knew of. But the pastor in his office is where he had a camera. And yes, he was televised. But forgive me, I have ADHD, so my head just kind of, there's 5 stories linked to one single story, and it's all just one big story to me. And sometimes you just kind of have to slowly listen to what I'm saying to be able to fully grasp what I'm saying. I've even confused my friends from time to time, unintentionally. And they are the ones that have informed me of this. So that's the only reason I know that sometimes they will have to slowly listen to me. And, well, back to what I was saying. It was at this event. Pretty big event. Lots of sandwiches, lots of food, lots of snacks, lots of children everywhere. But there's also cameras. Not as many as there was of sandwiches and children, but, quite a few big cameras. And as I said, I'm a friendly person, very open, always greeting people. And that was my first contact with a giant camera. I still remember raising my hand to wave at a person I had seen. It was kind of dark, so I did not see the giant camera on his shoulder. But it didn't take me but a couple of seconds to see it, and that's when this immediate, I don't know, fear just kind of surged through me, and my hand went down. And that was the day I discovered I'm afraid of cameras. Because the idea of that thing recording me and how many people would see it, and I already knew that this was televised, so yeah, a little afraid of so many people that I'll probably never meet, to be honest. Seeing my face, either way, it terrifies me, so I'm keeping the screen black for that reason right there. Um, Probably won't get many people seeing this, if even a few. Uh, but nonetheless, just in case, I'm keeping it nice and black so no one sees my face. Um, so, yeah, another thing about me is I call the channel Little Warrior because that is actually my name given to me by the chief of the Blackfoot tribe. I was really little, so I do not remember this, but this is something my mom tells me growing up. So this is something that she says. But as for remembering it, I don't remember. I do think I vaguely remember seeing something when I was little. So I do know at least she's probably telling the truth, and we did go to a Native American funeral, Blackfoot tribe funeral. Um, and no, I do not have Blackfoot in my blood, at least that I know of. There's um I have been told I have Wyandotte in my blood, and we're not certain, but there might be Cherokee. Not certain though. But the reason we were at a Blackfoot tribe funeral is because, well, we had a family member that was married into the Blackfoot tribe. So, you know, just I guess as a moral support thing though, in a loving manner, just to be there for somebody when they lose someone they love. Of course, you just be there for them. Um, I really don't remember any of this though, so um, yeah, I was very, very young. um, I'm not really sure how young because my mom, she's told me I was like 2 years old, but then, uh, no, I'm older now. She says stuff like maybe I was 4 or 5. It almost sounds like she's saying, but I'm not certain then, okay? But I know I was really little and little enough to not really barely remember anything. um, Another thing about me is I am 30 years old. Um, it's kind of odd, really. Honestly, I don't usually think about it until I end up mentioning my age. Then it's like, wow, I'm 30. Oh, that's right. Like I know I'm 30, but just I guess it's kind of like that moment when you're a teenager and then you finally become 20. You're just like, whoa, I'm no longer a teenager anymore. So I'm 30, and now it's still a little bit like, whoa, I'm no longer, in my 20s. I'll probably feel the same once I become 40, but, for now it's, whoa, I'm 30. And also, yes, I've purposely avoided from, uh, you know, mentioning my name. I grew up in an environment that was very, as I said, challenging, just to put it politely. There's a lot of stress, a lot of fear. I think a lot of responsibilities you should not put on a child. Um, and, when I say that, I mean that truly. I know some people feel that, well, children should have responsibilities, and I believe you're right, but uh, the responsibility for them to fix your marriage, that's not one of them. The responsibility to understand things you haven't taught them, that's not one of them. Um, so there was a lot of stress when I was growing up. A lot of responsibilities placed on me that I should have never had. That was not my job. So that's why I say that, responsibilities that should not be on a child. I understand telling them to do their chores, like keep their room clean and do dishes. These are just chores, age appropriate. um, and, appropriate. And I say appropriate as well, just not just because they're a child or something, but it's just appropriate, as them individually as a little person to do. Uh, Sort of like, even as an adult, or even if my parents had looked to somebody else to fix their marriage rather than a child or me now as an adult to do so, it still would be very, very inappropriate. I mean, unless it's a professional counselor, somebody who's studied psychology, someone who understands what they're doing. But not a child, not somebody who's like, 10 years old, 12 years old, 14. That is not something that should be on a child. That should not be on their chore list to do to fix their parents' marriage. Um, there's a lot more I could get into, but it's a lot, and that's why I'm going to just try to introduce myself a little bit, and videos here and there I will get into more depth about how I was raised and how I grew up, and I guess a lot about myself that's changed over the I don't know, I guess I could say past 5 years perhaps. A lot of self-confidence and uh, I guess you could just say, connecting to self and one's own opinions and um, what's the words I'm looking for? Self-independence of one's own thoughts. That was not granted to me growing up. In fact, when I started to try to gain more independence of my own thoughts and my own decisions, my mom about threw a okay, not about, she really did throw a really big tantrum because this last election here, I'm not going to say who I voted for. Neither am I going to say who she voted for because I'm not making this political. I feel we are all freely should be allowed to vote for who we want to. My belief is when you go in there, you are voting thinking of your family and your friends and your neighbors. So technically, you're voting for your people. You're voting for your family and your friends and your neighbors. You're not voting for that politician. You're voting for your people. You're just hoping that politician will be the best option to take care of your people and advance and grow better. So that's how I feel when it comes to voting. I really don't mind whoever you vote for. It's your own personal choice. My mom, though, really, 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 really does mind who you vote for, and really, really minded who I voted for. Um, and she just constantly, every day, was angry with me um, a lot because I wasn't voting who she was voting for. In fact, she was very, very, very focused on making sure I didn't vote for a candidate that I had already made clear I was not voting for. So you can tell part of it's based on fear, and part of it's based on this manipulation and control and um, anger and just releasing it on somebody that has nothing to do with why she's angry. She's angry at people for voting for that person. But instead of just learning to make peace with that, she was releasing it on me, even though I wasn't even voting for this person. So it had nothing to do with me. It had all to do with her problems in Word. And, you know, my dad is just as bad. He just does things in a much more subtle way. More quiet, more doesn't want to get caught way. But, so, yeah, my life, my childhood definitely had a lot of challenges. These were not very good challenges. Yeah, I guess then again, what challenges are good? I guess challenging yourself is a good thing, to help yourself grow. But as for like challenges to try to hinder you and hold you back and keep you under a thumb to where you can't even gain independence, that's not good challenges. That's a very, very controlling and yeah. Uh Not sure how else to place that as to in my opinion, that's not being a parent. Um, that's I think they call it a dictator, and that's what I believe. And I don't think parents are bad. I think we're all trying our best in life, and I think parents as well. They're just doing the best they know how to do with what they know how to when they know how to. I don't think anyone's perfect, so I'm not trying to bash anybody for maybe being overly controlling of their children. I think you're just doing the best you know how. But with my personal, growing up, I would say it's not the best thing for a child. Sure, it gets them to do everything you tell them to do, but it really puts one in a robotic state of mind where they really don't know how to think for themselves, and then once they get out, they're confused. And then when they start to find themselves, you haven't learned to accept they're an individual. So it makes it very difficult for you when you start seeing them find themselves, and it may not be the same views that you made sure that they robotically agreed with. And I'm not trying to be offensive. I'm just finding the best words I can to describe what it was like growing up. So I'm not trying to offend anybody by saying robotic. It's just the best words I can come up with right now of wording this. If there's a better way to word it, then great. But I don't have those right now, so I'm just wording this the best way I can. Um, so another thing about me, I guess, is that the reason why I started this YouTube channel is, well, as you could tell, I sing. Don't really have any music though, just my voice. I guess you just have to use your imagination and add a little music in your head then. But a lot of it had to do with because Um, my sister, I love her, but she's a spoiled little brat. Um, you know, not only was I put with a lot of responsibility that not only was a lot of responsibility placed on me that should have not been mine to carry or be burdened with as a child. But my sister, being the baby sister, was not really given hardly any responsibility, to be honest. I mean, she's 26 years old and she's very spoiled. She uh she in short, she just gets a lot of costume dresses, and they're western and they're authentic looking. These are not the kind you go get down for like Halloween or whatever. These are authentic. And um she doesn't pay for any of them. My mom does, and she's, I would say, spent well over maybe $300, $400. Uh, you know, and this is not including the jewelry my mom buys for her and satchels, shoes, the stuff that goes under the dress to keep it all nice and poofy and everything. Yeah, so, she's very spoiled, and I can't just go buy something for myself, even without my mom looking at me and being like, well, that's expensive. It's like, but you're not buying it. I'm not sure what your problem is then. Mm. Um, but, that being said, that my sister's spoiled, she's very much so demanding of attention. I'm not even sure she knows how spoiled or demanding of attention she is. I think if she was faced with a reality check, I think you would have a completely different person. I think she would be very sweet. But because she hasn't been given that reality or grew up with that, I think she has a very obscured view of reality, a very misconceived view of what reality is. I don't think she would know how to handle it very well. Um, I can't say that I didn't have a very obscure view of reality growing up too. I would say I very much so did. Especially being that, there was responsibility placed on me that should have never been placed on me. um, but it was different between me and my sister. Um, you know, she was given a very obscure view as things are just granted to her. And she's told that she's worked hard and, whatnot. So she believes she's working hard, but she's really not expected much to do much than what you would expect of a child. So she's really not doing much. If I'm really, really honest, the only thing she does is cleans the litter boxes and, along with my help, feeds and waters the cats and dogs. Gets them their food and water. She'll do that some days, and I do that some days. Um, and she'll pick out a pair of clothing for my mom to wear because my mom says it's too difficult for her to move anymore with her arthritis. Uh, but aside from that, uh, my sister does not do anything. I mean, she hardly does the laundry. I do my own laundry. She doesn't do mine, but there's a she used to do the dishes, but as I said, my mom spoils her. She would get mad at me and would for, having my sister do all the dishes, as they would say it, though I was the one doing the kitchen and the living room and the bathrooms and that, you get it. I was cleaning the house. um, and the only thing she was expected to do at that time was the dishes. And she, as I said, she repeats what mom has taught her. And that is, she does all the dishes. So it's like she does all the work when she's really just doing one thing, and that was the dishes. But, when it's expressed in such a manner as if she's doing all this huge hard work, then she's being taught to completely overlook all the work that I'm doing and just focus on the little bit of work she's doing like it's huge. Um, I can currently say now, though, that her fit and my mom's fit, uh, they finally got their way. Now I'm the one doing the dishes. I've been doing them for over a year now. As am I still doing the living room and the kitchen and still picking up after my sister. As I said, though, she really wants, she's been given this view to have attention. Um, and, I have to be careful what I'm doing. I got to be careful if I'm caught singing. Um, Honestly, it can be very hard because I love singing. It really feeds my soul. And even more, I loved the few times I've got to perform because sometimes you see people come in and they are just stressed out and you can see it. And by the end of the performance, they're relieved. They're smiling, their stress is decreased. For a moment, you've helped set them in a new atmosphere, in a new world, and that has meant so much to me. I know, as shy as I am, it sounds a little bit crazy to think about me actually performing, but I have a few times. Um, Only once have I sang solely by myself, but that didn't last very long. It was only a few seconds. Um, but I did. I guess that's because there was no cameras around and it was in church, so it's a bit easier. Everyone has their eyes closed during worship. They're not really looking at you. They're all just very focused in that moment of worship. Um, but as I was saying, I have to be careful, if I'm singing or this or that, because I can get accused of trying to take away attention from my sister who gets all the attention. I don't get to perform. I don't get to do any of those things that feed my soul because my sister wants the attention for it. And I know it's attention because not once does she ever describe it in a way I do, and that's de-stressing people and bringing joy in their life. Pretty much all my sister talks about is all the attention she gets, or how they want her to do this or that or this, and her and her and her. Um, it's not to say she's not talented. She is very talented. But I don't think my sister understands the soul, feeling, and meaning and reason for performance. I think she's very spoiled and really much so then lacks the understanding and the knowing of what that passion feels like, of why a lot of people get into performing. And it's really not for the attention. I mean, some people like her go in there for the attention, yes. They want to be told they're a great singer. They want to be told that they're awesome and this and amazing and you could be on TV. But then there's a lot of others that go in there, and we're not doing it for the attention. We're doing it because we love everyone out there in the audience sitting. We love people. We're saddened by seeing you stressed. We're saddened by seeing your job is it sucks. We're saddened by seeing you go home and sometimes you take some verbal abuse. Sometimes you're just trying to take care of your families. Life is stressful and it makes us feel good in that moment to ease your stress for just one moment. We know you have to go back to your life, but for at least 5 minutes, 20 minutes, or more, you got to be stress free, and that feels good to us. Um, but I said I can't perform. I can't get involved with anything. Or my sister Mara, get I did not mean to say her name. um, I'll just try to pretend that didn't happen. But as I said, she's just very spoiled. If I can't say that people don't enjoy it when I've performed. Heck, even when I've been in worship and I'm not paying attention to anybody, when I've gone to church before, I've had a lot of people come up to me and they've enjoyed watching me worship. Uh, and I really wasn't doing it for attention. I was just doing what everybody else does, and I was just, feeling in that moment. Uh, I've been told I have a really good voice. I've been told I have a very beautiful voice. I'm not really sure how well it comes out over the camera, though. Um, I don't think the camera actually brings it out in its best. Uh, but it's all I can do right now. So, what I'm using. uh, but, uh, I honestly, if I'm honest, I think she's a little jealous. I think when she sees people come up to me, she's jealous that it's not her getting the attention. She wants people to come up to her and say that you're doing awesome and amazing. Um, but as I said, I don't do it for the attention. I do it because I just feel it and I enjoy the moment. Um, and, my sister is talented, but honestly, I think that is the very big thing she lacks. She lacks that soul. She lacks that empathy to connect with her audience. It's more self-centered. And I guess that's more of the evidence to know that she's self-centered when someone else can't even get attention without her getting angry about it. I mean, she's gotten mad at me. She has gotten mad at me, and you know, she's said some very cruel, messed up things just to try to keep me away from where she's at. She doesn't want me near it. She doesn't want me performing at the local theater that she performs at. She doesn't want me um, being anywhere near around the stockyards where she. Um, I'm not sure whether they call that a job or volunteer work, but um, she doesn't really get paid. You can get tips for what she does, but um, that's about it. Um, and it does not pay. I mean, the tip she's getting, that is not enough for anybody to sustain themselves. Um, yeah, so she's very spoiled, and I am not allowed to have attention. And if I get any attention, I'm accused of taking it away from her. And my mom and my sister both will get very angry with me and accuse me of being, wanting attention and trying to steal it from her. So it's really not like walking on eggshells. It's worse. It's like walking on glass and having to be careful what you say or do because setting them off. The both of them, to be honest. Um, so mm, oh, I had to get a drink of water there for a second. I'm really thirsty. But so she is very spoiled, and you know, I guess that's why I made this channel. For one, because I want a place, as my boyfriend has suggested and told me, just to open up to other people and give them a safe place too to understand they're not alone. I wasn't sure how to go about that though, so I first posted, some videos of me singing. Um, and part of that, also the reason of posting up me singing is because as much as I love my sister, I'm very much tired of hiding in the background to fuel her ego. I'm very much tired of not entertaining people and connecting them as I love doing, and just de-stressing, and for one, just getting to sing because it feeds my soul. I love singing. I love the way it feels. Uh, you know, and I think that's something people can relate to, whether you whether you have a good voice enough for singing on stage, or if you have a voice that probably should only be sung in the shower. Either way, I think people know what it feels like to sing, and you know how free it makes you feel. Um, I wouldn't suggest everybody try to go make a career out of it, but I would say if it feels good, do it. Don't let anybody stop you. I'll listen to you. I am that weirdo. Even when people really shouldn't sing like on a stage or anything like that, I will still listen to you and just empathically connect with you because I know how that feels to sing, and I love being able to listen to somebody feel that way. um, so that's what I'm listening to at that moment is your feeling in your soul. You feel happy, so I feel happy with you. Um, but I am tired of hiding that part of myself because my sister wants to have all the attention and is very egotistic and does not want me to have any attention. So I'm really damn tired of hiding in the background for her and being accused of trying to take attention from her. So this is just a small space for me to open up and to just sing and hopefully connect with people. And if they enjoy it, great. If they don't, that's okay. You don't have to enjoy the singing. It's just a place for me to feel free for a moment, just as we all need to feel free for a moment. And that's why I'm doing that. Uh, I'm sorry. Back to the part where I was saying that, I'm sure I had an obscure view. Not right now anymore, but, when I did have an obscure view of reality, just as my sister does, just in a different way. Like I said, for her, it was, just getting everything. Um, and me, it was being placed with so much responsibility, and then at the same time being told I'm inadequate or I'm not good enough or I can't do it. Um, Mostly being told I'm inadequate, which made me feel like I'm not enough and I can't do it. Um, which has pushed me to the point that my mind um, was hindered from being able to understand how to be independent, um, which has, I am on SSI now. Um, I can't say that it was so much of a choice that I wanted to make. It was a choice pushed on me by my mom. Um, but nonetheless, I was glad that, this had occurred for me because I don't think my mom knew that SSI was something that was supposed to help you to be independent. I think she was hoping that it would help get a little more money in and, basically just be manipulative and take advantage of that. Because at first she was in charge of the money, and I really had no idea where it was going, but I was being blamed a lot for where it was going all the time. Um, and the moment my dad became in charge of it, um, and that's because my sister was the one that was in charge of it, but my mom was the one really in charge with it. It's just my sister was the one that they had the name signed on legally on the paper, was in charge, but that really wasn't the case. She was not in charge of that money. My mom was. My mom carried the card. My mom did all the paying of whatever she wanted with that card. Uh, and my dad did let me carry the card once his name was signed over. My sister did not want her name on it anymore. It stressed her out. I think a lot of that stress had to do with the stress my mom was putting on her. Um, she could get in trouble with the law or this and that and the next thing. And I'm not really sure why my mom did that. I I kind of just wonder if she enjoys drama and she just enjoys it and creates it literally out of nowhere. I mean, she can just create it literally from nothing. She's done this before. And those are some of the hardest times for me because it's she mostly tries to create drama around me and act like um, I'm some horrible person. I could be saying or doing nothing, literally nothing, and she all of a sudden will start off this dramatic scene, and it's like, what are you doing? And then she'll go on from there. So it's like she can literally create it from nothing. In fact, her last moment of drama, that is actually what she did at Walmart. And I was just like, how are you doing that? Um, you know, but as I said, I, because of having so much responsibility placed on me that should not have been mine growing up, it did give me an obscure view of reality. And though my mom got me on SSI just to probably get the money and, keep me under her control, still, like, somebody she can just use and manipulate to keep on SSI. Um, I gotta say, it has been a very big blessing for me, though, SSI has. Um, it gave me, opportunity to actually have a counselor, with no money out of my pocket, uh, which was a good thing because I had no money in my pocket because I don't have a job because, I was not taught with that structure to figure out how to do it myself, or at least not taught with the structure that I can. I was taught how to, I'm cleaning up after everybody right now, but wasn't taught I was good enough that I was even capable to have a job. So, yeah, I have no job right now. Uh, but I've had counseling, and through that counseling, it has helped me take steps that I've needed to gain independence. Um, for one, to start with, was gaining my own opinion. Gaining a separate opinion did a big number for me because it helped me separate and be able to see myself as an individual. And seeing myself as an individual would help me be able to more easily separate and be able to do the things as an adult I need to do. Um, so with my upbringing, I can't say I wasn't mature. I would say I'm actually very mature and more mature than I have right to be. But it kept me hindered from being able to have all the rights I should have with the maturity level I have and the mature age I have. Also, being 30, an adult, I have those rights to have a job. I have those rights to have my own opinion. I have those rights to have free expression, and those were taken away from me, or kept from me, really. It can't be taken from you if you never had them, But so uh, they were kept from me. Um, but a lot to do with gaining them. Gaining what belonged to me to begin with was mostly first starting to form my own self opinions. Um, Once I did that, it was a lot easier with the idea now to think about moving out. I have not moved out yet, but as I said, this is, well, these are steps I'm taking. This is growth, and I'm getting there. Uh, you know, uh, so first step I was forming my own opinion. Um, I think, and a lot of that with forming your own opinion is learning to say no and learning to sometimes say yes to yourself. learning to have some self acceptance, learning to say and recognize you are good enough. And when you get through that, then the other stuff, even if you haven't achieved them yet, they start to seem very, very achievable. And you realize you're very capable of doing this and you can do it and you will do it. After I got through that, it pushed me to go through things my parents did not want me to do. One of which was joining a dating website. Uh, and that is where I met my boyfriend. He's the most sweetest and amazing person I've ever met. And he's definitely changed my life in a very good way. You know, um, when we, um, you know, I'll just be honest. I have Asperger's. So I did join a dating website called Autistic Dating. Uh, so he has Asperger's as well. Um, he's the most sweetest, amazing person I've ever met, and I think it's both having Asperger's helps because we're both able to be sensitive to the other of whatever we're going through at that moment. Um, and at the same time, I think, having Asperger's, you wish sometimes people would listen to you or not judge you. And it makes you, I wouldn't say it makes you, because I think some people with Asperger's really lack this. It really depends who you are. I don't think a learning disability just marks you with this good saint like heart. I think that's a choice. But there's also a lot of them, I think they've gone through hard times. So they're very, very empathic toward other people because they know what it feels like when people won't listen to you because you have Asperger's or autism. And they know what it's like to be judged and not looked at as an equal because of such. So a lot of people I know that have Asperger's as well and autism, they're the most compassionate, empathic people I've ever met. Though there are a few, though, I would definitely say like lack empathy. I don't think that you having a disability immediately marks you with having some sort of a sainthood. Uh, I think that's all on every person's individual choice, how you react to your situations in life, how you grow from them. There's a lot of other people, those with no learning disability as well, that, you go through crap, but you overcome. And then there's a lot of them all the same, too, that they go through crap and they want to have other people hurt as bad as they hurt rather than find healing. And that's sad, but, as I said, it's an individual thing. It's not because they have a learning disability or no learning disability or whatever. It's a person's individual choice. Um, but I do think because me and him both have Asperger's, and I do think that does cause us to have a bit more sensitivity to the other and compassion. Um, and aside from that, he's the most sweetest, amazing man I've ever met. I definitely love him very much. But when I first joined the dating website, oh, it really pissed my mom off. She didn't agree with it. I mean, it was sometimes every day she was just being very pissy with me and being very angry because I was on there. But I made a choice. I felt, even though I'm no longer Christian or go to church or anything like that, I still very much do believe there's a God and I do pray to that God. And, I just felt like that moment in my life, God was saying, take risks. You know, Sometimes you just gotta live a little. Take a risk, get on a dating website. The worst that's gonna happen is you're not gonna like it and you'll get off. But it's okay to live a little and experience things you're afraid to experience. Just do it. And, and I was very apprehensive to do so, but I did give myself a time limit of, I pretty much said, okay, God, if nobody shows up by at the end of the year, I'll get on a dating website. I will join one. And, I did. At the end of the year, we got into January, uh, got into the beginning of the new year. I waited a few days, but, I got on there. And about, shit, can't remember, it was about 3, 4 months later, he messaged me, and he was just a sweetheart. To be honest, this might be a terrible way to describe it, but the way I describe it was like if he was a puppy and I tried to throw a stick, he would still stay there. Like this just adorable little puppy. Um, so, yeah, but so he's wonderful. Um, and it wasn't just a dating website. When I was still going to counseling, I'm only no longer going because it just seemed to conflict with the appointments my family was making, so we really didn't have a time or a way to get there anymore. But I think she helped me as far, not as far as she could help me, but as far as I needed, because the rest I was very capable of doing on my own from that point on. And I would say that it is still that way. I think she helped me to the point that, you know, that I didn't need it anymore. So it did happen in good timing. I would say that I couldn't go any longer, rather than at a time where I still needed her to counsel me. But she was helping me, be open to the idea of taking a bus, so that I have more independence and I don't need anybody driving me around. Uh, and my mom, who had refused to let me drive ever, her excuse is I have ADHD and she didn't want me getting distracted on the road. And honestly, that's what it is. It was an excuse. It was a manipulation. Uh, why did she want to keep me under this roof and keep me under control and um, keep me under her control, um, and not let me be independent or get a job or anything like that? I really have no idea. I have no idea other than she was abused growing up, and so she had no control over anything. So now she has an addiction to chaos and control. So for no other reason than she just wants to control someone, and instead of seeking healing for what she's gone through, she wants to cause pain to others, to hurt as bad, if not worse, than her. I don't think she would do as far as her mother has done, though, because I don't think she wants to get caught by the cops. I think times have changed since then, and people are not so lenient toward abuse anymore. I mean, there was a time where a man could beat his wife with a stick as long as it wasn't bigger than his thumb, and nobody would think twice about it. It was okay. Uh, and yes, that actually was a law. And I'm pretty sure, yes, that was in the 50s. A man could have gotten a stick as long as it wasn't bigger than his thumb. He was allowed to beat her with it. That was a law. That was okay. Um, and aren't we glad that that's no longer okay? But but yeah, I think in her time, even though it was illegal, I think people turned their head a little more. And I don't think they're as likely to do so anymore. So she doesn't beat, but she does threaten. She does corner, and she does scream. I need like a demon. I am not kidding about that one. She can scream, um, like a monster, to be honest. And she has gotten angry to the point that you are scared. You don't know what she's gonna do. She hasn't done anything, and she hasn't gotten that angry in a long time, but she has gotten to that point. You really just don't know. Um, And I don't know if that's because she's just getting that out of control or if that's part of her manipulation to make you afraid she's going to do something. Um, I've had she has looked at me before, and this was, I would say, I don't know, a few years ago, where she's looked at me and said, "I want to hit you. I want to hit you right now," and she's been so she does have problems. I mean, very very bad problems. Uh, Sorry, I'm getting off sidetracking again there. Sorry, but like I said, the counselor was suggesting I take a bus, which would give my mom less control of things because it's not like she can contact the bus driver at all times and be like, "Where are you going? What are you doing?" every 5 minutes. The bus driver at some point would probably block her number and be like, "Lady, you're crazy." Um, but allowing me to get a license, it will not stop her from calling and texting and keeping tabs on me at all freaking times. So I think she was just going for the better option that she thought would give her better control over where I am and what I'm doing and where I'm going. I think that's the only reason she agreed then to let me get my license, which I have not obtained yet. I do have my permit though. So, I I very much support counseling and psychologists. I think they do a good job and good work, and they help people. I can say personally, it really has helped me. Um, to be able to have my permit and to gain independent thoughts. This is not something I ever would have imagined before. um, but this is something I've gained, and it's been good for me. Um, and I know I haven't achieved getting my license yet or a job yet, but to me, if I can gain my own independent thoughts and I can gain a permit, like, wow, the permit thing, that's pretty big for me. uh, you know, and I had to work for that permit, and I had to work on those independent thoughts too, because when you're trained to just do as you're told like a robot all the time, when you first start going for independent thoughts, your brain is fighting you the whole time. It's like, no, 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 we're supposed to say it like this and this manner and that way, and you're saying completely wrong now. And oh, you should not join a dating website. That is evil. There's evil people on there. You should not be doing this. Don't do that. So your brain will fight you the whole time, but eventually, once you've uh done enough things and thought about enough things that you weren't really supposed to agree with and then disagree with, uh, it gets easier. It gets a lot easier to where it's not even a second thought to have your own opinions anymore. It's quite natural and uh, um. So yeah, and my permit that I worked for that too. I read the driver's ed book, and then I went online and I found like a test to the test of getting your permit, and it had like 460 questions on it. But I kept doing that test over and over and over and over until I got it nearly all right. Um, got it right more than enough that I would pass. Simply because I do not like failing. I probably could have gone and done the permit test sooner, but I don't like failing. So, um, I did that test, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 times after I given myself a break for a few days, because 460 questions, you don't want to do that for 5 days in a row. Dear God, no. That like really exhausts the brain. So, I would take the test and, fail, take the test, fail, take the test, mostly get it right, but not enough in my head take the test again and feel like, okay, I got it mostly right. I could pass right now if I wanted to. But I'm going to try it one more time just to make certain. So, I did. And not only would I, have to take a few days to help my brain recharge after all that, I had to make sure I had time to do so too because my family wanted the whole house clean and nobody else was going to clean it. And sometimes we had a lot of running around. So I had to make sure that I had time to do this. So there was scheduling myself to do this little test um, around everybody else's schedule and what everybody else wanted of me, even though, like I said, my sister, she's kind of spoiled. She doesn't do any cleaning in the house, really. I'm the one that does all the cleaning. So I, had to schedule around everybody else, to be honest. Um, so yeah, but the last time around, I felt comfortable enough to go take the test to get my permit, and went in there the first time, found out we didn't have all the information they needed first, and so we gathered up everything that I needed, and then we went in there, and well, I passed, and it was a really wonderful moment. I was just full of so much joy in that moment because, um, with somebody, is grown up and being told you're not adequate enough, you're not, pretty much just being told you're not good enough and you can't do it all the time. And to be able to achieve that and with that proof and evidence, oh, yes, I can. Yes, I can do it. Yes, I am good enough. Yes, I am freaking adequate. In fact, I'm more than adequate. It's so it's been a lot for me over the past, I would say, 3, 4 years in my life right now. Just gaining, my own independent thought and gaining as much independence as I have right now. And, more to gain, which I have no doubts I will gain that. As much hard work and advancing as I've already done. Um, and as somebody as who I am that does not like failing, I have no doubts I'm just going to keep working on driving right now and learning all that. And I'm sure I will get my license. And it's in my plans that I'll get a job after that because I do not want to rely on my family to take me back and forth to work. Because if I'm honest, I don't find them that reliable. Especially when they want control. They do not want me to have independency. And if they could do anything they can to get me fired or not succeed in that job, I would not put it past them. And there's a big reason why I will not get a job right now and why I will not depend on somebody to drive me there. Because I do not want that on my record that I was fired on an account that really isn't my fault and is completely out of my control. Um, so I'm gonna wait till I can get my license when I can drive myself, and that's when I plan on getting a job. And after that, I do plan on moving out. So mostly that's why I'm posting this. I do want to share my story, and I would love to connect with others and encourage others as well. That, maybe feeling like you're a failure or like you're not good enough. I want to help you feel like you're not alone and to see what a lot of work and self believing in yourself will do. If you can just do that and keep working, you'll achieve it. I mean, look how far I've achieved, and I know I will. I know I will achieve more. I have no doubts about that. Mostly because I know when I've set my mind to something, there is no stopping me. To be honest, and even I know that. My zodiac sign is a Taurus, so if anybody who studies zodiac signs, then Taurus, pretty much if we set our mind something to something, get out of our way. because you won't be able to stop us. um, so yeah, but so that's mostly what I wanted to share. And I do hope it will connect with some people. I don't think it will connect with everybody because I don't think everybody goes through what I've gone through. So I don't think it'll connect everybody. And I think we're all individually different in our personalities and our growth. But I'm sure there's little bits here and there somebody might connect to, and that would be nice. And if it can help somebody else, that'd be great. That'd be really good. Mm, all right, I keep getting thirsty and keep drinking water. Not that you can see that though, as I've got the screen on black. um, yeah. So there's a little bit about myself. Teeny tiny bit. I mean, pretty much just barely looking at the tip of the iceberg here, about my life and my background and my growth. Uh, but I will post more videos and a lot more information. But for right now, this is it. And maybe it'll be lovely with whoever I get to meet while I'm making these videos or connect with, and experience this journey as I try to achieve getting a license and a job and my own place. And and whatever journey anybody else is on right now too. Maybe you already have your own place, but I know everybody's on their own journey and they're trying to achieve something. And that's good that people might be able to connect. And you know best of luck to whoever is trying to achieve whatever they're trying to achieve right now. Because I think we all know what that struggle's like, but I think only a few of us know that other people know and recognize that. And I think only a few take the time to connect like that. And I think that's sad, but hopefully this video will just show people that, there is somebody out there that does know that though. And just because I've gone through troubles does not mean I'm going to ignore you're going through some too. Um, but yeah, I guess that's all I want to share on this video. And I guess I'm done now. And I guess good morning or good afternoon or good evening whenever you're watching this. And goodbye now.